Don't you hate it when you're deeply in love and you've realised that together you can conquer every problem in your lives and you're sticking together forever, and then your partner just disappears and you forget that they ever existed? Well, imagine how Bruce Banner felt when his girlfriend just evaporated from the MCU for no reason. Where did she go? And why don't we ever hear about her again? And who is responsible for this blunder? It's time to avenge Betty Ross. You're watching?
Let's get video ready.
It's easy to forget that Edward Norton played the Hulk before Mark Ruffalo, and that the 2008 film is officially part of the MCU. It was released in the same year as Iron Man and Christian Bale's Batman, which was better.
I'm Batman.
But look, it was the second MCU movie ever. It was really important. But Marvel just threw the plot in the bin without ever thinking about it.
I just had to get my data back.
You ate it?
The focus of the movie was Bruce Banner's love story with Betty Ross. Bruce had done the boring, annoying Spider-Man thing and broken up with Betty in order to protect her, and he ran away from his life after accidentally turning into the Hulk and getting pursued by the US government. But the movie was about them reconnecting and realizing that despite everything, they wanted to be together. She knew exactly who and what he was. After all, she was one of the scientists who made him that way in the first place. But she was with him for the long haul. Until she just wasn't. 4 years later, our boy showed up again in The Avengers, now played by Mark Ruffalo.
I'm a huge fan of the way you lose control and turn into an enormous green rage monster.
I've matured a lot in the last 5 years. Norton's version of Bruce Banner was badass. While Norton was doing crazy martial arts, Ruffalo was sitting in a lab drinking tea. It also makes this whole scene with Jennifer Walters in She-Hulk all the more weird. I'm pretty sure you can't control your guts like this guy, Jennifer. So we get to the Avengers, and Betty Ross is just gone. We didn't need the president to give him a pardon or anything like that, since he never actually did anything wrong. All we needed was S.H.I.E.L.D.'s intervention or any number of other solutions, and there's really nothing stopping them from being together. She's a professor in cellular biology. And I'm sure that unlike this lady, she knows how to actually use a mouse. What is this lady's job? To sit at a desk with a locked screen and hope it beeps at her? What the? She could have been on the bridge of that giant flying ship like a Star Trek episode along with Bruce Banner, waiting for all the other heroes to show up.
Engage.
And most importantly, after having a Hulk movie with Eric Banner, and then one with Edward Norton, and then one with Mark Ruffalo, having Liv Tyler there as a connective character would have made it easier to swallow, and it would remind viewers of the movie that they'd seen all the way back in 2008. Now, Disney bought Marvel in 2009, so it's clear whose fault this is. Fun fact, Walt Disney was cryogenically frozen, so we can be pretty much certain that he will be coming back someday. Marvel does give us some pretty in-depth information about why she isn't there though. See, they went their separate ways. She moved on twice. The 2008 movie had her moving on with Phil from Modern Family. Then, after forgetting about her completely, they tried to give us a romance between Bruce Banner and Natasha in Age of Ultron. Sorry, I actually have a girlfriend. There was so much happening in that movie that we didn't even need the extra subplot anyway. Just don't have that romance and then give us some tension since Betty Ross was still on the scene. This would explain why Hulk took off on his own on the end. He was ashamed of the connection that he had with Natasha, and he was afraid to go back to his wife and deal with it. So the Hulk took over automatically, and then he got kidnapped by aliens, leading to the Thor movie. Whoa, that would have been awesome. Instead, we got Bruce Banner running away from a relationship, again, for the third time. We could have had a married Bruce Banner. Doctor Strange could have officiated the wedding. That actually would have been pretty cool. Hey, get out of here.
My
Get out of
name
here.
is Dr. Stephen
This
Strange.
episode is
That's
not about
what
you,
it
you
is.
loser. I mentioned you once. You are not a part of this. Get out of it. Get lost. Go. Get out of here. Get out of here. Oh, sorry about that. If he was married to Betty, it would have made his disappearance after being kidnapped by aliens in Thor Ragnarok even more interesting. Maybe the reason that Banner disappears inside the Hulk during the Thor movie is because he thinks that he'll never see Betty again, so he gives up. And rather than having Natasha's recording calming him down, it could have been his wife Betty. Betty literally makes these stories better. The only other detail we get from Marvel is that Betty was one of the disappeared people that happened in the snap. It would have been an interesting contrast between him finding his peace after losing someone he loves, with Hawkeye being a total psycho, killing Yakuza just to fill in his days. It could have been a real Shrek moment. You know, the strong but sad green guy, conflicted with love and loss, as well as being the peaceful Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde as well. Betty Ross's own dad is a recurring character. General and then Senator Ross comes back a heap of times. After the passing of William Hurt, Harrison Ford is actually taking over the role of Mr. Ross. I know this is sad and unavoidable, but another character change from the Hulk franchise is kind of crazy. Sometimes MCU continuity is incredible, like with Jarvis to Vision, but other times it's really confusing. I couldn't leave you without some big news. Liv Tyler is actually returning to the MCU in the upcoming Captain America movie. Oh man. Oh, I'm kind of gutted by this. It's good that they're fixing mistakes and putting the continuity back in. I assume they're putting some continuity back in. But it's kind of bad that I just can't leave it now and say that they screwed up and forgot all about it since they're putting it back in. But if you really think about it, it's kind of like Marvel admitting that they screwed up and forgot about it. So that's nice. I'm sure soon enough we'll see what they have to say about Betty Ross, but the fact stands that they really dropped the ball with this one. Betty Ross, I miss you. I'm sorry for what Marvel put you through. You deserve better.